Good day. Welcome to Pines Talk. I'm here again with Tom Terry. We're here to talk a little bit about the happenings around Ocean Pines.
Yep, and we had our board meeting yesterday, and one of the hot topics in that, Bob, was the IRS situation. Why don't you bring everybody up to speed on where we are with that?
Well, as discussed in yesterday's board meeting, the IRS update that we have is the board decided to go with a second set of eyes to look at the ruling to see if we're moving in the right direction. And so we had a second set of attorneys look at it, and they agreed that the direction we're heading in, the work that's been done thus far has been on task and well done. And I believe their recommendation is that we strongly consider moving forward under the appeal process with the Fourth Circuit Court.
Mm-hmm. So we're moving forward to getting the final numbers from all of the accountants to make sure we know exactly what our opportunities are here. And then the board will be meeting to make a decision on the IRS case as to whether to appeal it or not. We will keep the community up to speed on what's going on with that.
Yes.
Another issue that's ongoing, of course, for everyone is the potentially hiring of a management firm to run the country club for us. We are still in contract negotiations with Casper Organization. We have not finalized that situation yet, but contract language is going back and forth between us and Casper as we speak. So hopefully by next week we'll have the final numbers and be able to sit down as a board and talk to you, Bob, and make a decision on what direction we go with that. But another interesting topic we had yesterday had to do with our own community and our environment here, not the least of which is the leaves are beginning to fall. And I know that you have a guest coming in today to talk to you about the leaf situation.
Yeah, we're going to talk with Carrie Nelson. It was interesting, as you know, prior to the meeting we talked a little bit that leaf removal here in the Pines seems to be an issue that brings a lot of emotion, interestingly enough, and so we're trying to attack it from a different approach this year. And we talked about it in the board meeting yesterday, and we've invited Carrie in to come talk to us about the strategy moving forward.
Okay, well, why don't we invite Carrie in and we'll hear more about it.
As we discussed at the last board meeting, we're taking on a strategy of leaf removal very differently this year. So we've asked Carrie Nelson to come share a little bit about the multi-pronged approach that we discussed. We're starting to, we just talked about yesterday, and all of a sudden my phone's been ringing. I know yours has been ringing. Maybe you can talk a little bit about last year's strategy and what we're doing differently this year that we feel is going to be a little, I think, better than what we've done in the past.
Well, basically, since I've been here, it's been an issue we had to deal with. We've got numerous trees in Ocean Pines, and we set rules about how you can cut them, and there's always leaves that come along with them every year. So we've looked at different ways of trying to do it. The vac truck works good, but the people that don't live here and they come down for the weekends and they pile them up and then bags set around, and our disposal company takes 4 each time, which is 8, which that covers a few yards, but not every yard. So we've always talked about a compactor truck and trying to make a product out of them later, try to help clean the neighborhood. So this year, me and you, we discussed it and we're going to try it.
Sure. So, now, I've had some comments or questions. Are we buying a trash truck?
No, sir.
Let's make sure we're
We don't want to own no trash trucks. Now we've actually Ocean City. We're going to go in a deal with them. We're going to lease it by the week, not to exceed a certain amount, which the prices are negotiated. It's not that very expensive. It's going to be a good deal for us and them. They don't use it that time of year. They'll need it back to get their Christmas trees. So it works out just for us. It's just about right to the 28th of December from November 15th, and it's a good deal. We help them and they help us, and we're going down there to train to use it, and our guys will take care of it. We'll keep it in our shop and we'll deliver it back to them.
Gotcha. And then the other part of the approach that we're going to use this year is you're going to have the yard open for 4 or 5 Saturdays.
5 Saturdays from 8 to 2. You can come to the yard, bring bag leaves, you can bring some limbs. We're going to keep them there in the yard, and then once we get everything picked up for the winter, then we're going to grind it all up and try to make a mulch product that we can use in our flower beds at the community gardens. I don't know how that's going to turn out yet, so it may be a great hit. So we'll see after we make the product.
Sure, sure. Well, you know what? It's something different. You know, we look at leaf removal's been a big issue. You know, second week here, I already had residents sitting down, you know, in my new role as general manager, asking me about leaf removal. So interesting when we're looking at the new concept. Things that people need to be aware of. If you're going to bag the leaves, bag them up, set them on your curbside, right?
Please, and what we want to urge the residents, make sure you use Chesapeake Waste. They'll pick up 8 a week.
Right.
They come for each visit, so make sure you get that 8 out there for them to get, because they're under contract to do that. We don't want to waste, you know, that ability to get rid of them like that. So do that first. The second ability, you'll be able to set them out by the curb. We'll come get them. We'll be working on opposite days of the trash so we don't conflict.
Right.
You got to keep the trash out. If we get a bag of trash in there, we may bring it back to your house. We probably won't, but you could. You know, we got to urge residents not to try to get it mixed up. And we would also, it would be nice if you'd use paper bags, because they would go in the grinder. They do in Montgomery County and some of the other counties. They put them in the paper bags, and the paper bag grinds it up, and
Gotcha.
you don't really have to, you know, deal with the plastic. We'll deal with the plastic if we have to, but
Right.
you know, we'd like to have the paper. And when you bring them to the yard, if you got some limbs and some pine cones, all that stuff's fine too. But
Okay.
before the leaf vac, the sticks and stuff clogged it up. So this year we're going to take some more stuff for you.
Now, what
Try to
else
help
can
it out.
residents do to help you with the leaf vac? If they help rake the leaves, if they're doing their own yard work, they helping out, it would make a big difference if they'd help by raking the leaves up to the edge of the road, right? So when your
Right.
truck goes by to vacuuming up.
Just what comes out of the ditch. Don't rake your whole yard out there. See, that's the trouble we run into now.
Right.
You know, residents, you go by the ditch and it's clear for you. You know it didn't come just out of the ditch. But I got to clean it up. I can't let the ditches clog up.
Right.
And not to push blame one way or the other, but it's just something we all have to deal with.
Sure.
We've got to keep the ditches open. I mean, so whatever we got to do to work together, we've got to do it. And we're not adding labor. I'm not adding more people. We're just going to do it a smarter approach.
Right.
So, you know, it's not like I'm going out and hire 3 or 4 different people to try to do this. The only different thing we're going to do is lease a leaf truck or a garbage truck, which in turn I think will pay for itself easy.
Sure, that and opening the yard this year.
Opening the yard up.
So they're the two new strategies. So everybody needs to help out. Kerry, certainly he and his team are doing a great job trying to come up with new solutions for upcoming problems and as they arise, and certainly for some of these old ones. So thanks for coming, sharing a few minutes with us today.
Thank you. Like I say, we're going to try something. So if it works,
See how it works.
we're positive about it. I think it's going to work.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Well, Bob, that was really interesting. I really look forward to you guys trying to implement that new approach to leaf removal, and I really ask the folks of Ocean Pines to participate and cooperate with this new approach. We want to keep trying to do things better and move forward all the time, so I applaud you guys for trying something new, and hopefully it will work out, but it will take everybody to take advantage of the yard being open.
Yes. Yes.
And bagging some leaves and working together as a community so we can address this leaf challenge that we have every year.
Yes.
Another one of our activities that's going on in our community is the public works activity that's going on, Bob.
Yeah,
Some of the cleanup that we're working
some of the
on.
cleanup. Where every day we're looking at ways to improve, and we're real fortunate. We have real active citizenship out there that are constantly making suggestions, bringing up ideas. The South Gate area needed some attention. Some of the questions come up. And we went out and did a tour over there. We looked at the roadway there in particular, grass growing up in the middle section as you're coming in through the South Gate. And we need to point out, everybody needs to be aware, they're county roads there. Okay. However, on our property lines, we did have some areas that needed some attention, and Public Works has already gone out. We've done some removal of some 4x4 posts that we use for signage, but only for short periods of time. So in the times that we don't have signage posted, we're taking those down now, so it does clean that up. And we're also looking at the split rail fence around Southgate that's been there for years and years. And quite frankly, with some of the road changes over the years, now it forces residents and folks that are either running or biking or along the roadway, they're into the roadway to get through the south gate. So we're going to make some changes there, not unlike to the fencing material we use down when we cross under Route 90 on the parkway. So hopefully we'll do that in such a way that doesn't force you right into traffic like the current fencing does.
So that work is planned to come up in the near future.
We're hoping next
some of
few
it
weeks.
started.
Yes.
Over the next few weeks. By the time we're back on screen again, that hopefully will have been accomplished. And again, I want to thank the folks that came forward and pointed some of this out to us. And we were able to clarify that some of it is not under our, but we are going to communicate with the county to say how can you help us with this cleanup in alignment. And it isn't just cleanup, it's also refreshing the image of Ocean Pines in various areas. So I know we're going to continue that kind of work.
Yes.
So thanks again for that work. Appreciate it.
Tom, I think our next guest, you're going to be talking with Dave Blazer, who came. He's with the Environmental Natural Asset Committee here in Ocean Pines.
Right.
He came and did a great presentation at our board meeting yesterday, and we thought some of the points that came up were worth sharing, in several venues. So I believe you're going to speak with him shortly.
Yeah, we've got him coming in, and it's the beginning of an ongoing program we're going to have at the Board of Directors, where the various chairmen of the advisory committees are being asked to, take an opportunity to come sit down with the board and talk face-to-face with the board members as to what's going on in their committee and where they're heading. So let's bring the environment in and
Good.
see where we
look
are.
forward to it.
Well, welcome, Dave.
Oh,
Thanks for coming in. We're here with Dave Blazer, who's the chairman of the Environmental Advisory Committee. Look, thank you for your group, and you're an award-winning group, I understand.
We just kind of facilitated the process. Ocean Pines is actually the winner because of all the work that we've done in this community to protect trees and to protect the environment. We won a tremendous plant award in 2009 for a lot of the efforts that the community has done to protect and preserve trees. We've done a tree planting and just a lot of the work that we try to focus on here in Ocean Pines.
Well, who's all involved with this? A little history in your group.
Yeah, we have a great and very active community. We have about 6 people. I hope I don't forget anybody's name, but Barb Coughlin, Cheryl Bissell, Carl Johnson, Bill Lewis, Doris Lloyd, myself, and Gail Demon. Les Purcell from the board is our liaison. And we're also fortunate to have a good working relationship with Teresa and Carrie on the OPA staff. Have been very tremendous. So, that core group has been active for about a couple years. We started in 2008. The committee actually started in 2003. I came on in 2008. And really our major focus over these last couple years is education and outreach. We've got a great community. We are a waterfront community. We're a beach community. We're a boating community. We've got great walking trails and parks. And we at the Environment Committee have kind of taken it as our charge is, we need to focus on these things, protect these things, and work with the Board of Directors on what we can do to help preserve and protect our environment here. It's in nobody's interest to have polluted water, to have asphalt and concrete everywhere, and to ruin the environment. I mean, that's why we've all moved to this community, is because of the natural assets and amenities that we have here.
Well, what else have you, like working with the residents here, or some of the projects that the board has been involved in over the last couple of years?
Yeah, we've, as I mentioned, we've really focused on education and outreach. We have done a couple events. We did the tree planting where we worked with students from Worcester Prep School and Stephen Decatur and brought those students in as well as residents to help us plant 150 trees over by the Southgate Pond. We also have cleanups every Earth Day where we'll walk around the Southgate Pond and pick up plastic and trash and so forth. We've also done a couple things. We've brought in guest speakers to talk about environmental issues on what waterfront property owners can do to protect our water quality. We have done a rain barrel construction where we've put together rain barrels to give out. Rain barrels basically collect storm water that runs off of your house, so that water, as it runs across the ground, collects pollutants. Now you have a place to store that, pollutants like nitrogen and phosphorus, which you can use as fertilizers. So now you have a 55-gallon storage tank on your property that in the middle of the summer, when it's a drought, you have a source of water without having to use good, clean, fresh water. So we've done those types of activities.
Yesterday when you were talking about that at the board meeting, I understand you've gotten the grants and you've gotten your own money, and I'm smiling over that. That's good work to reach out and get external help for us. That's great.
Yeah, we realize that a lot of the education and outreach and a lot of the efforts that our committee is focused on, we don't need funding for the Ocean Pines board. And I know when I mentioned that yesterday, the board was like, bravo, you're not asking us for money. And we don't, because there are other sources. We have made some pretty good alliances with the environmental groups in the area, with like the State Forestry Board, with the Maryland Coastal Bays Program, Assateague Coastal Trust, the Lower Shore Land Trust. So, networking into those already pre-existing areas have kind of given us an opportunity to apply for grants, and the money that we got for the rain barrels and the trees, we've gone outside and used those so that we don't come ask you guys for money, especially in these trying times.
Well, all joking aside, we do appreciate you going at it that way. It's very helpful to everyone. I know from also in the past, and again, the board has asked you guys to look into geothermal and other forms of more environmentally friendly and cost-effective means of heating and that kind of activity. So what's going on with that?
Yeah, we are an advisory board, even though we have focused on education and outreach and try to do a lot of things. We are there to advise the board, and we have written letters to the board trying to get, as you mentioned, cost-effective, sustainable environmental practices instituted here in the community. With all the new buildings, the new community center, the yacht club, and other things that we're looking at redoing and rebuilding, are there ways to incorporate energy conservation, water conservation, other techniques that will help protect the environment, but also will be cost-effective and save us money in the long run. So our committee is going to take a look at geothermal and solar options that might be able to be used in some of the plans that you guys are moving forward with. And we're going to come back with some reports on cost effectiveness, environmental benefits, and other social and community benefits that might come up to help you guys with your decision making. These are green and sustainability movements are in the mainstream now, right. and they are really catching on. It's not a fad, and it's not just a good thing to do. It's got to make cost-effective economic sense for people to implement it. I've been in the business long enough to know that to get these environmental programs in place, it's got to make economic sense.
It may not be less expensive in the short run, but in the long run it pays off.
And really that's what we have to start looking at is Ocean Pines isn't going anywhere. The buildings that we're building now are going to be around for a long time. Right. The last community center lasted almost 40 years. So, the life cycle of that building, is it beneficial, for example, as we talked yesterday, to have a geothermal heating process put into that building? It might be a little more expensive in the beginning, but your operation and maintenance cost over the lifetime of that building may save you money. So, that's what we're going to look at as kind of the life cycle cost, not just the price tag to put it in, right. But then is it going to save you money over the time?
The whole impact on the business plan.
Exactly. And we're going to try and do the same thing with solar panels and look at some of the other things that might be able to be implemented.
Well, we appreciate your help on that, and let's wrap it up with one other thing that I know we talked about yesterday, which is try to reach out to our fellow citizens here in the Pines.
Yeah, that's was one of the most exciting things to me was we've got a great population here and an active population here in Ocean Pines in the community. And we look forward to working with Teresa and trying to get the environmental message out. And one of the things I think you mentioned yesterday was, what can we put on the website, or what can we get out that homeowners can do to help us protect water quality and habitat? So we're going to be working with Teresa and the board and try and develop some web pages and fact sheets and information to let every homeowner in the Pines know that there's things they can do to help protect the great natural assets that we have here in the community.
Well, that's great. I appreciate you and your whole committee and the work
Thanks.
you're doing, and thanks for coming in today.
Appreciate it.
So
Good luck
look
to
for
the
the
board.
new website that will be coming up soon.
Well, Tom, that was a great interview with Dave. As you can see, the committees do a lot of work around here. What I'm most impressed with, and I enjoyed when you came onto the board, was the fact that you recognized that and how, I would say, under-recognized the committees feel. So giving them the opportunity to come in and share their thoughts and direct input, I think, is a great strategy moving forward.
Well, I appreciate that. They work very hard, and as they were an award winner, I understand we have another award winner on our team.
Yeah, we Detective Sergeant Leo Ersman won the for the child advocacy group for Worcester County. He won the Law Enforcement Officer of the Year. That's a pretty big deal. That was for the entire county, and it just goes to the level of professionalism, effort, and energy Chief Massey and his whole team, and in particular Leo, does for Worcester County and very importantly for Ocean Pines. I think this wraps up our edition of Pines Talk for the month.
Think so?
I think, one of the things that I want to mention as we close here is we've had some great comments and feedback from our citizens, from the residents here, both emails, phone calls, folks stopping in. I know I certainly have. I believe you have
Absolutely.
as well.
Good
Please,
suggestions for what we could do on the show in the future?
yes. So please keep those comments coming in. The show's for you. The only way we make it better is if you share, what you'd like to see in the future. So we'll look forward to getting those comments. And for now, have a great day.